talk about Daniel Jones and why I believe it's time for Daniel Jones to be benched and for the New York Giants to cut bait with him after this season. I understand that he still has years left in his contract, but it's time to move on from Daniel Jones. In the past, it's been the excuses. The offensive line is no good. He's never played with a true number one wide receiver. Those things are true. His number one wide receiver in his career has been Darius Slayton. Now, Malik Nabers is the best wide receiver with this team. He's a true franchise wide receiver. I have seen enough. That kid is special. And if he continues to play with Daniel Jones, he's going to get him killed. When I look at Malik Nabers, he can do everything for you. He can stretch the field. He can make the tough contested catches across the middle of the field. He is Superman, and you're going to see it on film in the next couple of seconds. But this is why I'm done with Daniel Jones. I've been done with him for a couple of years now, but on the season, he has 4 passing touchdowns to 3 interceptions. And you may say, hey, 2 of those interceptions came against the Minnesota Vikings in week 1. He was rusty. He was coming off a torn ACL. He still looked terrible in that game regardless. They're paying this guy as a franchise quarterback. He threw a pick 6 in that game to Andrew Van Ginkel, and he looked like a deer in headlights. And the 3rd interception of the season, I'm not going to count it because it was just basically a Hail Mary attempt at the end of the game in the Dallas Cowboys game. But part of the reason why I'm being so hard on Daniel Jones, look at these plays right here. The first play I want to look at is an overthrow to Theo Jackson in the Browns game. Theo Jackson is wide open. But look at this ball. He has to jump out of his shoes to catch this. This is severely overthrown. And this is a big tight end. You look at the next play right here. To Malik Nabers, same drive. Lucky for him that he gets to play with Malik Nabers. This is how special he is. Another terrible throw. This kid has become Luke Skywalker in mid-action to catch this football and to put 2 feet down. It should not be that difficult. Almost any starting quarterback in the NFL can make this throw better and make life easy for Malik Nabers. That first throw should have easily been a touchdown. I understand there was pressure in his face, but still. I've seen Tommy DeVito make a similar pass last season. I've seen Drew Lock make that pass as well with the Denver Broncos and with the Seattle Seahawks last season as well. But it doesn't just stop there. I have more for you. The third throw right here, Darius Slayton. This is a penalty right here. And I know a lot of New York Giants fans right now, they're screaming at their screen, especially on Thursday night. This was a penalty play, but Darius Slayton has the cornerback beat easily. This is severely underthrown. Look at the airtime on the ball. This doesn't happen with franchise quarterbacks. And the offensive line play has not been bad this season. They benched Evan Neal. Now, the offensive line play hasn't been perfect, but it's been some of the best offensive line play in Daniel Jones' career. And you also look at Brian Daboll. He's not a bad head coach, in my opinion. He made the playoffs his first season as a head coach with him and Saquon Barkley. But you look at this right here. This should not be the case. Most backups in the NFL can make this throw. And this is a common theme with Daniel Jones. He did the same thing against the Minnesota Vikings and against the Washington Commanders as well. And you look at the bad throws against the Cleveland Browns. This has become a reoccurring theme. We have more to look at as well. This should have been a touchdown, but he throws it more on the outside instead of the inside. And I understand the safety has very good position right here. But Daniel Jones could give the wide receiver more of an opportunity to go for the red zone here. And say he throws it to the outside, it goes out of bounds. The play doesn't count. Another terrible throw by Daniel Jones. You look at this situation right here. Malik Nabers, wide open. Look at this underthrow. This would have easily went for a huge gain or a possible touchdown. But Daniel Jones, gets to set his feet. He has pressure around him. The pressure's not in his face just yet. He underthrows his football to Malik Nabers. Just terrible. And when we look at this last play on film, this could have went for a huge gain or a touchdown at least. He underthrows the wide receiver yet again. Daniel Jones is not a good starting quarterback, even from week to week. At this point, he's not even a good backup quarterback. He is causing the New York Giants games. Those are potentially 3 touchdowns that they could have had against the Dallas Cowboys. And no offense to the Cowboys, because they're struggling right now. They don't have an efficient run game and they can't stop the run. They did stop the run against the Giants. But besides that, those are 3 touchdowns that could have easily put the Giants in front to win that game, because the defense did play well. The defense has played well in the last 2 weeks. They played very good against Dak Prescott and CeeDee Lamb and those guys. They did give up the 1 passing touchdown to CeeDee Lamb. And they gave up the 1 big play to Rico as well coming out of the backfield. But a lot of Giants fans thought there was going to be a flag on that play, but it wasn't. We go back to what happened as well last week against the Cleveland Browns. Their defense played phenomenal in the first half, but Daniel Jones is underthrowing guys as well. They could have easily beat the Browns by 2 to 3 touchdowns, but they didn't. But a win is a win. When I hear Brian Daboll still hitch his wagon to this kid, I understand what's going on here. This is the same Brian Daboll that went out there and he benched Kenny Golladay. This is the same Brian Daboll to say he doesn't care how much you make. If you're not playing up the standard, he will bench you and it will be consequences for players' actions. Daniel Jones is the golden boy for the New York Giants. They picked him over Saquon Barkley. And it's easy to say that now, but Saquon Barkley is a running back. A decent quarterback will always be valued more than a running back in the NFL. That's just how it is. But they went out there, they bring in Devin Singletary. I do not believe that he's a bad football player, but he's not going to be able to do much because teams do not fear Daniel Jones. They fear Malik Nabers. And this is a solid wide receiving core. Wan'Dale Robinson, he had some drops Thursday night. The wide receiving core had him as a whole. I'm not going to come on here and just say that was all on Daniel Jones. Majority of it is, but they had some drops there. The play calling wasn't the best because for whatever reason, Brian Daboll just said, forget the tight ends in the entire game plan. Let's just target wide receivers. I understand that. From an accuracy standpoint and from over and under throws, that's all on Daniel Jones. But the play calling was not the best offensively for Brian Daboll and his crew on Thursday night against the Cowboys. But defenses, they don't fear Daniel Jones. So they're going to still stack the box. They'll just put their best cornerback on Malik Nabers and put a safety over top. That's what the Browns did in the second half, and it phased down the game plan. Yes, Daniel Jones has decent athleticism. Okay, you look at most defensive linemen in the NFL, they can catch him behind the line of scrimmage. You can just put up a spy with a linebacker. And Daniel Jones still cannot read NFL coverages. When you run a cover 3, he struggles against that, and his accuracy isn't helping either. This is a quarterback that has dealt with injuries in the past, can't read NFL defenses, and now he can't put a ball into the ocean. Danny Dimes was never a thing. That was a thing for some New York Giants fans that wanted Daniel Jones to succeed. He's never thrown dimes consistently in his life before. A bunch of pennies, not a bunch of dimes. He's a terrible starting quarterback. And as soon as they move off of Daniel Jones, this entire franchise will see more success. I get that they made the NFL playoffs a couple of years ago, but we have to let that go. They went out there, they defeated the Minnesota Vikings in a playoff game. That was a great moment. Then they got exposed by the Philadelphia Eagles. Understandably, they could not win on the outside because your best wide receiver at the time was Isaiah Hodgins. But we fast forward to last season when Daniel Jones went down with his ACL injury. I saw more life being pumped into this offense with Tyrod Taylor and Tommy DeVito than I saw with Daniel Jones. He's going to continue to cost his team games moving forward. So whether it's Quinn Ewers, Jalen Milroe, if he wants to come out, Carson Beck, whomever, you select your quarterback in the first round and you cut bait with Daniel Jones. I don't care if Daniel Jones finds a way to go out there and turn everything completely around for the rest of the season. Cool, use him as trade bait. Because he's done it before. He played well enough to get this contract, and look at what has happened since then. The New York Giants had so much faith in Daniel Jones early in his career, they declined the 5th-year option, and they went out there and they wanted to have a conversation with Russell Wilson. I wonder why. Basically, that one season was a blessing and a curse for the Giants. They made the playoffs, they had major success, yes, but you were put into a tough situation. Do we pay our running back that has dealt with injuries in the past? Because it's easy to say, pay Saquon Barkley. The man had a torn ACL, ankle injuries, and he was a phenomenal running back, yes. Or do you pay your quarterback in Daniel Jones, who you selected in the first round in 2019, and the guy that you always hoped was going to succeed? They thought that Brian Daboll was going to fix him for the long term. That wasn't the case. I do think that the Giants have a lot of talent, by the way. I like Kayvon Thibodeau a lot. Brian Burns needs to be more consistent with this team, and they have to be more consistent on the defensive end. I really like Deonte Banks as well. They lost Xavier McKinney, but I like the safeties that they have. I like Bobby Okereke at the linebacker position. Their defense is good. I think their defense is good enough to get them to 4 to 5 wins this season if the quarterback play can be better. The wide receivers, I like Darius Slayton a lot. He's a very good number 2. Not a true number one. Malik Neighbors, I can't say enough good things. That's a franchise wide receiver, in my opinion. The tight ends, they're not bad. I like Daniel Bellinger. He had a very good rookie season before he suffered an eye injury. Theo Jackson, there's a lot of potential there. As we see in the red zone, he can get open as long as Daniel Jones isn't trying to make him be Slender Man and catch the football 8 feet out the freaking air. The offensive line does still need some work, but it has improved. So I like the pieces that they have. I'm not saying that you slide in a quarterback that's a rookie that they'll just go out there and they'll win 9 to 10 games next season. They still have a long ways to go. But if you're asking me right now who they're going to move off of, when it comes between Brian Daboll and Daniel Jones, they're moving off of Daniel Jones. Brian Daboll, I feel bad for him. He doesn't deserve this. The play calls can be better, but it's only so much you can do when your quarterback can't hit anyone on the field on a consistent basis. One of his touchdowns came from Malik Neighbors legit having to just jump in the air, pause, and put his feet down in the back of the red zone. And then we saw at the end of the game, I thought Malik Neighbors caught the ball on the sideline before he got concussed, but he didn't. The official said that he didn't catch it. It shouldn't be that case. It shouldn't be the case. He should have threw the football sooner, but he didn't. It's like it's a mental delay with Daniel Jones. Easily one of the worst starting quarterbacks in the NFL. Malik Neighbors is very entertaining. He's going to have a very good rookie season, but imagine what he could do with just decent quarterback play, because this is easily below average quarterback play. And by the middle of the season, if things are not better, you have to just put another quarterback out there. I know why they're doing it. He's getting paid a lot, but you're really just hurting team morale by just continuing to just put Daniel Jones out there as a whole. But let me know in the comment section below, how do you guys feel about the Daniel Jones situation? Am I being too tough on Daniel Jones? And should he be the starter for the rest of the season? If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. If you like the video, hit the like button. Most importantly, want each and every last one of you guys stay safe, stay positive. Thanks for watching the video, guys. God bless. Peace.